Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics for another little breeding episode. Right, on this breeding episode, if you look in the bag, you're going to see some lovely little bronze corys in there. Now, I've picked up 5 from my local pet shop, my local fish shop up at the Big Blue. And these are a lovely size. They're of breeding age. And obviously they've been looked after very well by the guys up there. So they've been fed regularly, all different types of stuff going in there, different types of food they put in. So they've been conditioned up quite well. But what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to condition them up even more with some live bloodworm, which is going to float to the bottom. They're going to go mad for that stuff because they're not used to it. Once they taste that live bloodworm, they're going to go mad. And they're going to put on some little bit of size. They're going to fill up with eggs, those females. And then we're going to get on to lowering water parameters and stuff, and mimicking rain and all that kind of good stuff that we do here on this channel. Anyway, first of all, the tank you're looking at now is the tank that we bred the black skirt tetras in, okay? And the babies are still in there. If you look in the background, you can still see lots of little fry zipping about in the background. We've lost a few. You normally do, though, when you're breeding fish like this. You'll get the weaker ones, they'll die off, sadly. But it's all part of breeding, so it's one of those things, as you know, you're going to lose a few on the way. So, but you can see I put that nice little, one of the bonsai trees, which I made a good while ago now. I've still got a huge branch, so I've cut some more of that off, and I've just reversed some upside down. So I've got most of those little sharp edges in the sand, okay, and the big part is, so I've basically reversed it into a root system. We've got a nice little plant on the side there, and it's the same water parameters. There's about 6.5 in there at the moment, 6.6 I would say. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these guys in here for, I would say, maybe a week, just over a week maybe, and fatten them up. And that's the thing. So I'm not going to do anything with the tank parameters at the moment. It's exactly the same parameters as it was when we bred the skirt tetras, okay, the black skirt, the old widow tetras. And like I said, the babies are in there, super healthy water. As you can see, they're all going around mad. There's no ammonia, cycled sponge filter, all that kind of stuff you've got to have, as you know, if you follow my breeding videos along, okay? So what we're going to do, I've got them acclimating now in the bag, so I'm going to tip them out, and they're probably going to go straight down here and hide underneath the plants and everything. So I'm going to slowly lift them out. There you go, guys. Bit of rickia stuck to the bag. Now I've left the rickia in there for the baby fry, and they get lots of food. There's lots of micro life in there now. I've got big hands, so I maybe get all of them in one go. I'm not sure, I might do. If you look in the top there, you'll see them go in. I'll let them swim out one by one. There goes 1, 2, 3, 4, heading off to the sponge filter. I've got one more in here. Here he comes. Hey, there you go. Into your new little home in amongst the roots. You'll love it in there. And straight away they're going to just sit on the bottom like that. Let me just adjust this camera down a bit. Now if you notice, I've got a couple of shrimp in there as well. Now the reason I put those in there is because when those little fry pass on, the weaker ones, they will clean them up. And they're going to keep those tank lovely and clear of any of the little guys that don't make it, okay? But those corys now are going to settle in there, and before you know it, they're going to be whizzing around looking for food like corys do. But that's it, basically. It's 27 degrees in this tank. pH is around 6.6, I think it was, I said 6.6, 6.7. Already they're looking around. Probably go up and grab a gulp of air off the surface. They do that sometimes. So basically this video is just about me. I've just come up the shop, I've just brought them home. This is an already established little tank, as you know, because if you watch the black skirt tetras video, I spawned them in here with the spawning mop, obviously with the cycle filter, and all I've done now is I've added the roots and the plant and a bit of rickia in there, just to add a little bit more bio life in there, micro life, for the fry to eat, okay, because they're on baby brine shrimps now, as are the sepia tetras. Now I can move you around to those guys actually, because they're coming on. There you are, there's the sepia tetras there. I'll just move my teat out, and you can see the sepia tetras there. Look, they're all whizzing around. They're growing nice. They've got lovely little pink bellies at the moment, full of baby newly hatched brine shrimp, which will fill them up really quickly, and they'll put on some size then. So they're coming along well. But I thought, while I've got these corries out there, while I saw them up there, I thought they're of a good age. People have been asking me to breed them, so I thought I'd do that. But I'm just showing you, if you've got a set-up tank already, you can get away with this. Just put them straight in. Now when they do spawn, they're going to most likely lay on the glass, okay, or maybe on the plants, could be on the sticks, but that's probably where they're going to lay the eggs when they do lay them, okay. And if they do this in your main aquarium, it's very, very capable. If you get your fingers and you can roll the egg up the glass into your fingers, and you can individually take the eggs out off your main tank. Get a small tank like one of these ones that I've got with the sepia tetras in over there. Empty some of your tank water in there, little sponge filter going in there, obviously cycled one, and put the eggs in there. You don't need a filter as such until they hatch, but you can put a filter in there just to make sure as they get older you've got one running, and you can hatch them off in another tank. They're a lovely little fish. They're a beautiful colour. Sometimes they call them the green catfish as well. Very, very peaceful fish. They're going to live to about 5 or 10 years. Obviously bottom dwelling. Minimum size really for a group is about a 10-gallon tank, okay, nicely planted up tank. And if you just want to keep them on their own, that'll do them fine for the duration of their lives. Anything a bit bigger obviously is always going to be better. They're omnivorous. They'll literally chew away on most things they find. They love to go in amongst the sand. Now if you noticed, I put the sand on the substrate in there. This is why, another reason why I wanted to put them in this tank, is because they love to root around, and fine sand is always good for them because they've got their little barbels and they love to get in amongst that sand and root things out. Now the bloodworm that you can see in there, which I put in there, will bury in the sand, okay. They'll wriggle their way into that sand, and these little guys will have great fun rooting about and finding them, okay. And it's making it more natural for them, more like it would be in the wild, rooting about and finding these little grubs and little worms and things in amongst the soil, okay. So that's a good thing to do, okay. Now sexing these guys, you're going to find the males are going to be slightly smaller and slightly more slender, okay. If you can look down in the shop, if you're going to buy them, look down when they've got them in the net, and you can see the males are going to be not as wide, just behind the gills. They tend to be narrower than the females. It is quite tricky to sex them when they're bigger. The females tend to be bigger and obviously rounder in the belly and everything, and obviously because they're going to be holding those eggs, and they're a bit bigger than the males, okay. They get to about 2 inches in size when they're max out, and but like I say, absolutely stunning little fish. Always loved them. And it's like that the albinos that you can see in the shops as well, and all the different types, they're all man-made strains, okay. And especially the albino one. And another little trick here, another little trick, guys, is when you're buying them, you could buy a corrie, an albino corrie, and you could buy a couple of bronze corries, and they will crossbreed, because basically they're the same fish. They've just been made differently, different colour strains, obviously throughout selective breeding, but they will breed together. But you'll find that they'll throw out mostly bronze colours if you mix them together, okay. If you want albinos, breed albino to albino, and likewise. But if you mix one with the other, you'll tend to get out just normal bronzies anyway, okay. So there's a little thing for you. Like I say, the females are heavier set, and food wise you want to be giving them a good mixed diet as well, because they're omnivorous. They're going to want a lot of things, you know, like flake foods, different flake foods, frozen. If you can't get live food, guys, go and get frozen bloodworms. They'll eat those just as well. When you're breeding, I always tend to go for live, because that does trigger breeding a lot quicker than frozen, conditioning wise, because they're hunting things down. Like that little guy there just found one and sucked that in like a bit of spaghetti. And you'll watch him, you might see him rooting with his little chops. He'll go right up to his forehead, right up to his eyes in that sand when they start digging. I'll try and get some footage of that for you as well. Right, now another thing with these guys is subdued lighting as well. They don't like bright light. So we've left the rickia in there for two reasons. Obviously for the fry that are still in the tank, and also to shade it as well, because they don't like bright lights. We've got the plants in there, we've got the sponge filter in there in the corner. It's imperative that you give these guys somewhere to hide so they can feel safe. Then when they would need to retreat, whether you spook them or your cat jumps up on the tank, they've got somewhere to go and they're going to hide out and they're going to feel safe. They've got that little retreat, which is really important for a lot of fish. I see so many people which organise their tanks in a way where they can see the fish all the time, and it doesn't give them anywhere to hide, and they end up with stress and end up with white spot. Always give your fish somewhere to hide. They're more likely to come out if they've got somewhere to hide than if you set up a tank where they can't hide, okay? Origin of these fish is Argentina, Colombia and Venezuela. Okay, this is where they originate from. And they're just one of my favourite little fish. They're such little characters, they really are. And you see them when they start going. These have only just been put in the tank, so they're mostly stressed out. They have been out so far feeding, which is nice to see. And what I think I might do, I've got some more bloodworm here. I'll pop a few more down. You might see that one spook in a second. So I'll get out a big dollop of these guys and sprinkle them in that corner. And you should see them going down. There you go. Now hopefully that's going to encourage them to come out. Go easy with the live food, guys. Make sure they eat it all now. I'm going to leave that in there now for a few hours until they've hoovered all that lot up. And the shrimps have had a couple as well. Because you've got the fry in the water as well. Well, I have. I want to keep that food down, because I don't want to be polluting up the water too much. You're only going to feed them about 3 to 4 times a day. And if you're going to work, you can add your live food in the morning. You can set up an auto timer on there with some sinking pellets, sorry. That'll go in a couple of times during sort of like lunchtime, mid-afternoon, and then you can feed them some live food again in the evening, okay? So they've got morning and evening. Evening time's the best place and the best time to put the live food in. There's another one creeping around in the back there now, because when it sinks down, they're more likely to come out because they're shy fish and feed in the night time. They're more of a nocturnal species, so they like to come out, creep around at night, hoovering through that substrate to find things. So the bloodworm will go into the sand, hide away, and it's going to give them great fun hunting for it, like a little treasure hunt for them, okay? And that way they're going to put on some size, they're going to feel safe, they're going to feel more like it's where they're from, in their own habitat in the wild, and they're more likely to spawn for you, okay? Little guys are starting to move around at the back now and come out. Now if you watch, you might see him push his face right into that sand, and it's quite comical watching them doing that. They're coming out. Here he goes. Makes me laugh. And they're all coming out in a little line. You're going to get some that are bolder than others, but they're very clued up on what's going on outside the tank, corries as well. They don't move a great deal, they spook very easily. So just make sure all the movements that you do around the tank are very slow. And that subdued lighting is paramount. You really have to have that low lighting, okay, for these guys. Because don't forget, where they've been in the shop, the pHs will fluctuate because of the tank, and obviously they've got lots and lots of fish in their tanks, big sand pressure filters going, so their conditions are they fluctuate quite a bit. But now you put them into this water, and this is a lower pH anyway. There he goes. What'll happen is this has already triggered them into, there we go, look, they're coming out now. It's already making them feel more at home, you see. They've had no substrate in the shops whatsoever, and straight away that natural instinct is kicking in. They're starting to hoover up all those little bloodworms, and they're having fun, and that's what we want when we're keeping fish. And they've also got a lot more of that bronzy colour and that stripe through them now, because they've got a darker substrate. In the shops there was no substrate, so they couldn't basically hide anywhere apart from behind the lift tubes in the filtration system, sorry. But they're having great fun in there, look at that. So straight away they're starting to settle in, and as soon as they settle in, that's when they're going to breed for you. And that's one of the biggest tricks that I can tell you guys as well. If you want to breed fish, they're more likely going to breed from the shop within the first sort of like week, I would say, because of the conditions that they've been kept in. And that goes for a lot of fish species, okay? They've been kept in these unusual fluctuating parameters. Now when you set the tank up, you give them the right parameters, the right lighting, the right food, just triggers them, and they just go. So remember that one. But I love watching corys of all types. These are a very easy, they're an easy one to breed. Once you get them in condition, they'll breed quite happily, and it'll go on for about 7 days sometimes. They'll breed continuously, okay? They'll lay eggs all up the glass, they'll be everywhere, and they can lay up to 200 to 300 eggs. So, and when they've done that, make sure, if you want to return them to your main tank, you can do one or two things. You can either remove them, or you can spend some time and you can remove the eggs and put them into a separate hatching tank. You can roll them off the finger with your sorry, you can roll them off the glass with your finger, or with a credit card, or with a very clean blade. You can scrape them off the glass, because they adhere them to stick them to the glass, okay? But you can scrape them off, bring them on that way. But hopefully we'll catch these guys in the act, laying the eggs, which will be nice. Sometimes they'll do it at night and I'll miss it. Other times it could be any time during the day. So I'm going to try and get as much footage as I can for you, as always, and see if we can get these guys going. And it's exciting because I haven't bred these for a long time, and just seeing them now eating away is already encouraging. They're sucking up those little bloodworms like they're going out of fashion. Fantastic stuff. Now when you breed these guys, as you can see, the water level is quite high in there at the moment. You can't see the top of the tank, but it's literally where that rick here is, and probably a couple of centimetres above that, sorry. But what I'm going to do is over the next week, I'm going to slowly take it a little bit out. I'll probably take out a couple of inches a day and replace an inch of water. Just do tiny little water changes to keep it fresh for the fry, more than anything with this tank. And then what you've got to do is you've got to drop the level. If you're just breeding them, I've got to be careful here. I'm doing this because obviously I've got the fry, so I'm going to be doing it different. So what I'm going to do is I'll tell you now how you'll have to do it if you've got, say, just a normal breeding tank, okay, and you've set it up for these guys. What you're going to have to do is keep it at that shop bought pH, okay, whether it's 7 or whatever. You get where you get yours from, where they've been kept, and then over time lower that pH with catappa leaves, bogwood, stuff like that, where you're lowering the pH. You can use rainwater because that's going to be slightly acidic with the leaves. Make sure it's from a nice clean place where you get it, and empty half that water out, fill it up half with rainwater, and then leave that for that day. Following day, take out half of that water again, 50% of water this time, and then you can fill it up with, I would say, water that's about 7 degrees cooler, okay, than the tank water in there. Slowly raise it up as you go in to 27 degrees, and then take half out, raise it up again with cold water, with colder rainwater, and then bring it up half again. So you've lowered that pH, you've lowered that temperature as well, and this is what triggers them to spawn. Okay, it's like mimicking a bit of drought and then rain, that colder water going in, all that live food that you've been putting in over the last week, they've been settling in, and that will mimic that rain, and then that will trigger them to spawn. Okay, it may trigger them straight away, maybe a few hours later, but that's what I'm going to be doing. But I've got to do it slightly less than that. I can't be putting in the cold water in this tank because of the babies that are in there, okay? And I'm running out of room, guys. I've bred so many things for you guys to watch and follow, and I'm running out of room, and I'm not going to breed things and like you say, and let the fry die off or anything like that, because that's not what it's all about. I've got to make sure now I look after the things that I've bred, make sure they rear up nice so we can get them to new homes or back up to the shop, or I can put them across into my big bench tank and bring them on in there. But this, like I said, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to breed for a while, because then I'm going to concentrate on my coral room for a while. Going to get some of that done with the next few videos, so you guys can keep up to speed with that. But we'll see how we go. As always, guys, any problems or anything, just put it in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. If you've got any problems or you get a little bit confused with the way I say it, because I do tend to jump around a bit sometimes, so I apologise for that. But you can always, you know, check me, just say, look, whoa, kill the motor, dude, you know, roll it, you know, back it up a bit, what were you on about there, and I'll tell you. Okay, it's just that I get a little bit carried away, so I get really excited about this, guys, still, and I lose it sometimes, and I go off on little tangents all over the place. So if you need any help, just ask, okay, and I'll help you the best I can. Well, guys, one of them's still behind the sponge filter, probably a little bit more shy than the rest, but that's not to worry. I'm sure he'll be out later on when the lights are off and we can put a little bit of food back in there and he can find that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave that for part one, okay, about to breed the bronze corys. So next time we come back, hopefully we'll have either had a spawn, I can show you them spawning, and then we can go into rearing up the babies and all that great stuff. Anyway, guys, as always, you're all stars. Love you loads. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for being part of Marks Aquatics. All you guys that have just come on board the last sort of couple of weeks, welcome aboard. Lovely to have you. Subs are going up lovely. It's fantastic getting some awesome comments from you guys of fish that you've been doing. You've been breeding fish yourself and things are working out, which is brilliant. If you're new to the channel, hit the old subscribe button and that notification bell, and that way you're not going to miss any new breeding videos or any other videos that I put up in the future. All right, guys, as always, take care, and I'll see you on the next edition of Marks Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.